All right, good afternoon. It is Saturday, the 16th of December, and a few of you have been contacting me saying that you're having problems kind of using what we had in the ball store and getting going in your own projects. So I'm going to go back and try to redo some of this, and hopefully we'll see how it works. So I'm going to create a new folder. I think I've got one already called Ball Store, so I'm just going to call this the Ball Store. Okay, so that'll be my new project right here. As you can see, there's nothing in it. All right, so let's get started. I will open up Visual Studio, and I'm going to do this over a series of videos. Like I said, it's Saturday, and I'll just do what I can do today. So create a new project. It will be I was working with the first year people, and that's why you see this stuff. In ASP.NET Core, MVC, etc. We'll call it the Ball Store. The solution will be the same thing, and we'll put it into a folder also called the Ball Store. All right, so everything should be set up, the Ball Store, the Ball Store, the Ball Store. Next, we do want this. We do want it configured for HTTPS. All right, there's a part of me that almost wants to say individual accounts. And if you do that, a lot of the stuff that we've been coding will be added for you automatically, but let's just leave it the way it is right now. All right, and I'm going to click Create. Now, what I'm going to do right now is go through some of the stuff that you need to basically put into your models folder. All right, so for instance, let me just get into this. In models right now, we've got our error view model, which of course we don't use. But in here, I'm going to add a folder called Data Access Layer. We'll put some stuff in there later. I will add another folder in here that is called Domain Models. And I'll add one more folder in here, at least for now, that we'll call View Models. Okay? For now, at least, that's all I'm going to put inside of my models folder. But I'm going to start by going into my domain models and building my first two classes. So in domain models, I'm going to add a class. It will be ball.cs. All right. And you've seen some of this before, but I am doing it again anyway. So public int ball ID with a get set, and then we will put in some validation. So we're going to have a required and this will be public string, and we'll call this ball name. Whoops, not Bezol. Ball name with a get set, and we'll even initialize that to string.empty. All right, next we will have a ball description. So let me just copy all this. So this will be description. All right. So far we've got a ball ID, a ball name, and a ball description. All right. So next, let's put in the price, which is a different type. So I'll tell you what, let's grab these anyway, even though we're going to make changes. All right. So you must enter a ball price. We will also come in here and set up a range. And I made this up. You can come up with whatever you want. I'm saying the cheapest ball is $1. The most expensive is $1,000. Again, if you don't like that, come up with your own. Ball price must be greater than or equal to $1 and less than or equal to $1,000. Okay, and this will be a decimal, and again it'll be ball price, and we can initialize it to like 0M. Why don't we just initialize it to the cheapest ball, which is 1.0M. Okay, all right, we're good. Everything you've seen so far has been required. All right, so we're going to put in about 3 or 4 things in here that are not required, and those are the image URL, the image thumbnail URL, and a couple booleans. Is the ball on sale and is the ball in stock? So let's do those next. Again, none of these will be required. I don't want description URL here. I want I had ball image thumbnail URL. All right, and that's going to be a get set. Don't know how I lost the set there, but I did. And again, it'll be equal to string.empty. All right, and then we've got, as I mentioned, a couple booleans here. First is ball on sale? And we will default that to false. And we'll have another one, and it'll be is ball in stock. I think originally when I did this, I defaulted it to false. Let's default it to true. You think most of your things are going to be in stock. So next, we're going to have a foreign key. Now we're going to get an error here because we haven't done the category yet. We'll do that momentarily. And again, this will be a foreign key. All right, we're also going to have a navigation property, and that will be for the category. And again, we'll get errors here. Don't worry about it. And I think I mentioned this already, but in case I didn't, that is going to be the navigation property. Navigation property. All right, let's line these up, although it's, of course, not mandatory. So we have in here, this is our ball class. We've got our primary key, our ball ID, which is an integer. We're requiring a ball name, a ball description, and a ball price. They're all required. The ball name, of course, and the ball description, of course, are both strings, and they're defaulted to string.empty. The ball price is a decimal that I defaulted to $1, and the price of the ball must be between $1 and $1,000. Then we have 4 properties in here, none of which are required. 2 strings, one which will represent the big image for our ball and one which will represent the thumbnail image for our ball. All right, they're both strings and they're both defaulted to string.empty. Then we have 2 booleans, and those booleans are is ball on sale and is ball in stock. Is ball on sale, I defaulted to false. Is ball in stock, I think I had originally defaulted it to true, or to false rather, but I went back and redid it and made it true. All right, it doesn't really matter that much which way you do it in the end. Okay, so I've got that. I've got this error here, which I'm hoping is going to be gone literally in a matter of minutes. So save all, and let's come in here and let's do our, again, we'll come into our domain models here like this, add another class, and this will be category.cs. All right, It's very small. It'll have public int category ID with a get set and just two properties, a category name and a category description. They'll both be required. And I'm just going to copy, well, it's actually showing me a lot of this, so there you go. So there's the category description. Again, we'll set it equal to string.empty. All right, and I'm going to make that required as well. Again, we'll default that to string.empty. And what doesn't it like? Oh, that's down here. What am I thinking? Okay, so that should be all correct now. Again, we've got our category ID, which is our primary key. We've got a required category name, which is a string defaulted to string.empty. We've got a required category description, which is a string defaulting to string.empty. So file, save all. The other error that was in ball.cs should be gone, and you see that it is. So these two are both done. I've got my ball.cs done. All right, and I've got my category.cs. Those are both done. All right. Okay, now let's go in here and in our data access layer, let's start by making a couple interfaces. So in the data access layer, I'm going to add a class, but I don't want it to be class. I want it to be interface. All right, and this will be iballRepository.cs, and you can see it is an interface, which is what we'd want. And in here we want to be able to do three things. All right, we want to be able to get every single ball there is. Next, we want to be able to get all the balls on sale. And finally, we want to be able to get an individual ball. So we're going to start with an IEnumerable of type ball, and we'll call it get all balls. And notice it's called get, so this is just going to be a get. All right, and again, that'll get all of the balls. We want another one, and this will be get balls on sale. And again, it's another get. All right, not on sales. We want it on sale, my error. And finally, we want a ball, because this is going to be an individual one. So this will be get ball by ID. And we'll have to pass in an integer, which will be the ball ID. All right, so that is the interface for our ball repository. All right. Next, we're going to actually go in and make this ball repository. All right, but you can see we've got, again, all balls on sale. We could have even called that all balls on sale, but I just called it balls on sale. And this is an individual ball that we're grabbing. So file, save all. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do in our data access layer here is I'm going to add another class. But again, we want this to be an actual class, not an interface. And this will be ball repository.cs. All right, and immediately that we want that to inherit from iball repository. All right, we're getting that error, which probably means we need a using. Nope, we need to implement the interface. Okay, that's fine. We're going to implement the interface right now. All right, now to start with, I'm going to need some kind of a context in here, but I haven't added a context yet into my appsettings.json file. There is not anything in there right now that is representing any kind of a BallStore or whatever you want to call it context. All right, so we have to, of course, get that right now. All right, okay, so you already know this. We've done this quite a few times before, but I'm going to come in here and put a comma here. Then I'm going to come down here and put in connection strings. All right, and put this over multiple lines. And let's call this one, I think I called the last one ball context. We'll call this one BallStore context. So there's no mistaking which is which. And this, as always, will be server equal local DB. That has to be in parens, of course. All right, so local DB / MSSQL local DB. Okay. What else do we have? Database equal. I'm going to give this a new name. I'm going to call it BallStore DB. All right. Trusted connection equal true. And multiple active result sets equal true. All right, now it is right now, it's giving me not this, I mean, I'm getting a squiggly here, but I'm trying to figure out why. Member name should be in double quotes. All right, so get rid of that to start with. So connection strings. Okay, there, I don't want that here. I want server equals, get rid of that. There we go. So taking this from the top, this is going to be the BallStore context from which we're going to create the BallStore DB. If you go in and you look right now under what we have under databases, we've got a balls DB and a balls. I'm going to get rid of this balls DB. I don't even know what that is. All right, and this is the old one that was just called balls. All right, so don't worry, I'm not going to create it yet, but I want you to see this is what I added, was everything in here. All right, so as we take this one step at a time and look at it, I want to make sure I'm only doing this because, like I said, some of you have been talking to me and saying you're having problems with what we created originally, so we're trying to redo it and hopefully make it work better. So we've got a comma here after allowed hosts, our connection strings in double quotes with a colon, and then in between our curly braces, we've got the name of our context file, which is now BallStore context, colon, and then our server equal local DB / MSSQL local DB, database equal, I'm going to make a new one called BallStore DB, trusted connection is true, and multiple active result sets is true. Okay, so let me save this. So why did I even do that? I did it because we're going to need this in our ball repository here. All right, and I'm telling you, that is why I did it. So I can come in here now and start writing the stuff in the ball repository. Well, to start with, I'm going to put in a private read-only. And this will be a BallStore context. Why doesn't it like that? right, I'm not sure. Oh, I know why. We'll fix it in a minute. And it'll be underscore ball context, BallStore context. All right, now I'm getting the error, of course, because I've got to come in here under Tools and NuGet Package Manager and manage NuGet packages for solution. And I've got to come in here and I've got to, right now there's nothing installed. All right, and if I look under Browse, all right, I've got to bring in the two Microsoft.EntityFrameworkCore.Tools. So let's bring in that one. We should be, it says the latest stable is 8, but I think I'm running 7. So I'm going to go back and make this 7 just to be sure, because you can get weird errors otherwise. So there's that. I'm going to install. Hopefully it'll install just fine, except doesn't look like it liked it. Let's see. Let's look. Installed. It says no packages found. All right, then let's try version 8 and see if it takes that. All right, latest stable. That's fine. We'll take that then. Still says not installed. I don't know what the problem here is. Package source mapping is off. I've never looked at this thing you're seeing right here before in my life, so I have no idea what that is. Okay. Let's try SQL Server and see if it likes that one. Project, BallStore, latest stable. I have not had this happen before. Let's go in and do a file save all. And I'm going to close this, my NuGet, and I'm going to reopen it. So let me get rid of all this for right now. I don't know if that could possibly be hurting anything. I have no idea. All right. And let's even get rid of this just for now, because right now it would actually work. I don't know if having errors like I just showed you would keep this stuff from loading. I'm going to see right now. So NuGet Package Manager, manage NuGet packages for solution again. All right. So let's see if we can now put in SQL Server. Oh, doggone it. Yeah, again, it says here this package source mapping is off. If we add it, package pattern. I've never seen this before. And it wants something here, which I'm not sure what to put. Well, it would be BallStore context dot ball, something like that. Add. Okay. I have no idea if that did anything, and if it did, if it helped or didn't hurt. Requires a package source mapping. That's what I just did. All right. I'm just going to remove that because I don't know what the hell that's even doing. And my guess is this isn't going to work either. Well, son of a gun. Package source mapping is, I've never seen this before. See, I'm a half an hour into this already. Otherwise, I'd start the whole darn thing over again. All right. I am posting this as an answer. I was able to solve the issue by following the below documentation, which is here. Once you click on the configure link, it will open the window. We saw that. And they wanted you to enter a package name or ID. So NuGet with Microsoft.star. Let's see if that works for us. I'm not able to add anything else. All right. Now it says that it's found, so let's see. So I'm going to try to install it now. This is the tools install. Not installed. Oh, jeez. Good gosh. Well, if that one didn't work, I don't know why this one would work. And it's not. What if I did try going down to 7 here? So I thought that's what I'd need to do. All right, now it took it with version 7. Let's see if I can bring the other one in version 7 as well. All right, so I've got SQL Server. Let's try tools. And let's see if we can bring that in with version 7 as well. Now it looks like both those worked. Let's double check. So I closed it. I'm going to go back and reopen it under Tools. All right, and let's go back in under Tools, NuGet Package Manager, Manage Packages, and we'll go to Installed. All right, it says that now, at least it says that these are both installed. All right, and I'm hoping that everything is going to be okay after this. Like I said, I have never seen that error before. All right, okay, so I'm going to close this and I'm going to go over to my ballrepository.cs. And again, once I put in this eyeball repository, it gives me an error. Now, if I do want to do this, I can come in here and tell it to implement the interfaces. I can do that, but I want to write them myself, or at least try to. So let's see now if it'll take what it wouldn't take before. It's not recognizing my context, which I put in here, and I called BallStore context. All right, underscore BallStore context. Now, hopefully this is just a using problem. No. Generate class BallStore context in a new file. Well, I think it is a using problem, and for whatever reason, I don't know if this will work or not. But I'm going to put in here using the BallStore dot models, because models, oh, wait a minute, I've got a problem because I have not yet created my context file. There is no context file. That's probably why I'm getting the error. Should never start this stuff on a Saturday night, I guess. All right, let's go in and write my BallStore context right now. All right, so let me just go in and save all, and I'm going to come in and we're going to put this in our data access layer. So I'm going to add a class, and it will be BallStore context.cs. All right, okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is, as you've seen before, is I want to come in here, and before I even go in here and write the constructor, let's say colon db context. Now we should get an error there, and this should ask for a using, and it does. All right, and that's what we just brought in. Okay, so that's all right. So let's do our public BallStore context. All right, DB context options, BallStore context options. You've seen all this before. Colon base options. Curly, curly. Okay? All right. Now let's put in our two DB sets. And we'll eventually have more than this, but for now we're only going to have balls. Come on, DB set balls with a get set. Now it doesn't like this, so let's see. It needs another using statement. There it is. All right, that we shouldn't get an error on this one. So public DB set category categories get set. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hard code my data in here. You are not to do this. You are to go back and look at what we did before, where in this data access layer, you should have a configuration folder and put in your configuration files. Maybe if I have time, I'll go back in and do that as well. I don't know. All right. But I'm going to say protected, override, void, on model creating, model builder. And we don't need this now because we're not using the configuration files. So I'll be model builder dot entity. We'll do the category first. So category dot has data. I spelled category wrong, as you can see. All right, let's move this over. There's no data in there yet, and that's why it's giving me that error. But as soon as I respell category correctly, this should fix that. Okay, and it did. All right, we have 6 categories. 7 categories. So new category, we can do this any way we want. I'll tell you what, before I did it on one line, let's do it on multiple lines. We'll say category ID equal 1, category name equal baseball. All right, so there's our first category. And to try to make life easier so you don't have to sit and watch me type for a year and a half, all right, I'm going to go and copy this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't worry, we'll probably get errors, but we'll fix all of them right away. So this will be 2. This is basketball. This will be 3. And then it is bowling ball. This will be 4. And it is football. 5, I believe, is golf ball. I think we made that 2 words. 6 is soccer ball. And 7 is tennis ball. All right, don't need that comma there. And now everything is cool. Now, not a big thing, but I'm going to flip these 2 and do category first. You don't have to. Totally fine the way it was. All right, but there's my categories. Now, I don't want you to have to sit and watch me type because there's a lot of typing to do for the other one. All right, because we have like about 50 different balls or something like that. So let me just come down to here. And let's see. This will be another model builder dot entity ball dot has data. Now, to try to make this go a little faster, I'm going to go back to where I had my data. There's the BallStore. That's the old one. So let's go to models here. Ball context. And I'm just going to grab every bit of this. There were 42 different balls in here. That's what I had. All right, so like I said, rather than you watching me type that, which you know I'd be making mistakes, I'm just going to leave it and put it in like this. Okay, so there's those. Now, while I'm here, All right, it looks like everything is cool that's in here, but I'm going to go into my www root folder and I'm going to add an images folder in there. All right, and then in that images folder, I'm going to go in and add existing item, and I'm going to find the ones that are in the project that we had started earlier, just the one called BallStore, and I'm going to copy them over. So there's BallStore, www root, images. So we've got thumbnails here, and actually the other ones are here, but let's go in there and do this. We're going to go in and do image files. All right, so I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go down to the bottom, like that. I've got logo and pattern. I don't remember what those are, but I'm not worried about it. So I'm going to add those. So those are all in here. And I think the logo is the logo for our BallStore. Yep, there it is. And pattern, I have no idea what it is. Oh, I know what it is. I wanted a little background pattern. So let's close both those. All right. Now I'm going to, in here, I want a folder that is called thumbnails. All right, and in my thumbnails folder, I again want to open this, add existing item, go back to where we just were. And again, I have to tell it that I want images. It says no items match. Well, that's sure interesting. I don't know then where those files are. Well, let's go in and just check in here and make sure that is an empty folder. No, they're all in there. You can see that they're all in there, and they're all JPEGs. So let's see if we can do it like this. Add existing item. I'm going to give it the right path. And we're going to try it again. Image files. There they are. I don't know what happened the first time. I don't care. All right, we'll add those. Those should go into our thumbnails directory. So when I close that, boom. All right, so I do have all of my images. Okay, all right. So far I have gone in and I have created under models a data access layer and a domain model or a data access layer folder, a domain models folder, and a view models folder. All right. Under the domain models, we put in our ball.cs and our category.cs. All right. Now I just went in and built the BallStore context right here. All right, again, I'm expecting you're going to go in here and you're going to add a folder, and that folder will be called configuration. And in there, you will have your configuration file for both of these. All right, why? Because that's just the way you should do it. And I'm not doing it that way, but that's the way we should have done it. All right, so we've got our BallStore context. Now let's see if we can build our ball repository file. Let me do a file, save all, and here's our ball repository. So again, this will be inheriting from iBall repository. All right, and we're going to come in now in private read only. And now we want to say ball, there's our BallStore context. All right. Let's just use underscore context. That's fine. All right, we'll just do it like that. Now let's come in and let's put in our constructor. All right, and there that is. Now again, we're getting this error up here because we have to put in our get all balls, our get balls on sale, and our get ball by ID. All right, so we're going to do those right now. Now you'll notice if you look here, we're getting some errors. All right, well, we'll fix those right now, but let's look at this one. Are we missing a using? Yes, we are. Okay, so that fixed that. Now I'm not returning anything right now. All right, and that's, I think, why it's giving me the error. So let's come in here and do that now. This is a get. It's a get all balls. So all I'm going to put in here is a get, and I'm going to say return underscore context dot balls dot include. We want to include the category as well. That's everything in the get all balls. And you'll notice no error now. All right. Now, the next one that we need in here is very, very, very similar. So this is going to be the get balls on sale. Since it's that similar, I'm going to come in here and copy this because I just don't want to have you see me type and type and type and type in here. So this is get balls on sale right there. And we're again going to return this same thing, but we want to put on the end here a dot where all right, just like that. Now we can come in here and try to pretty this up a little bit by hitting enter and moving this so it's right here and doing the same thing down here. You don't have to do this, of course. I like to do it because, you know, it's a line for everything. Now, I still have an error up here because I have one interface method that I did not yet put in. So let's put that last one in. That is public ball get ball by ID. And we'll have to pass into that a ball ID. All right, so that'll be a return underscore return underscore context dot balls, and we'll come in here and just do it here again, dot first or default okay, just like that. All right, I probably have got a null thing in here, possible null reference return. All right, but notice that my error that was in here before is now gone. Now the system has a tendency to put these extra things in here that we don't seem to really need. So I'm going to get rid of them. All right, so what we have, again, this is our ball repository. All right, so when you look in here, again, I am right now inside of our data access layer. All right, this is our ball repository. We've got an eyeball repository. That was the interface, and now we're implementing the methods from that interface. We needed to create the context file because we needed to create a context variable. All right, and then we brought in the context in our constructor, as we always do. get all balls. That'll get all the balls, and it'll include the category for each ball. Here we're doing the same thing, but we're only going to be returning it where the ball will be on sale. All right. And finally, this is going to return a single ball based on the ID. And it is possible that if we searched for something that didn't have a matching ID, it could be null. So let's see. It says here, suppress or configure issues, suppress, configure severity, etc. I'm just going to leave it. Just leave it the way it is. All right. So we now have that in here in our data access layer. All right. Next, I'm going to come in and in the data access layer, I'm going to first create another interface file, and that'll be our I category. All right, our I category, and it's going to be very simple because all we'll want in there is all the repository, or all the categories rather. So I category repository .cs. I think I spelled everything correctly. I did not. So there that is. Okay. All this is meant to do is it's a get, and it's going to get all of the categories for us. So it'll be an I enumerable of category, and it'll be called get categories. All right, and it'll just be a get. That's the whole thing. That's everything. All right, now is it possible there are no categories? Probably. So it says here remove unused. No, I don't want to do that. I enumerable category get categories. All right. It says it must contain a non-null value. Consider declaring the property as nullable. So I don't know where that goes. I always get confused here. If I say equal null, will it take that? All right, it's giving me a thing here. Cannot convert null literal to non-nullable reference type. So it wanted the question mark there along with this. Okay? All right, so I've got that done. All right, and then next, I want to actually make the category repository. And it's not going to have me much because it only has the one method in there, get categories, right? That should be it as far as what it has. Of course, it'll still have our context variable, it'll have our constructor, but then it'll just have the one method. All right, so again, I'm going to do a file save all, and I'm going to make, since I've got an iCategory repository, and if you look, I screwed that up. This should have been an interface. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm getting this because it says interface properties and interfaces cannot have initializers. So it doesn't want that then. There we go. Okay. All right. One of the differences, again, between an interface and a class. So file save all. And let's go back into here. And now let's add, this will be the class. And this will be category repository .cs. Okay. All right. Again, we'll have a private read-only here. All right. And it'll be of type BallStore context. We'll call it context. And we will have our constructor. All right. Before we do this, let's go in. Well, let's not do it this time. Let's do it like this. And we will have our category repository. All right. Context equal context. Nothing new there. All right. Finally, because there's one thing we forgot to add, we'll add that in a minute. Public I enumerable category. All right, it'll be our get categories. All right. And we can, let's write it with the newer syntax, and it'll just be context dot categories. Now, my guess is this is probably missing a using, and it is. So that fixed that. But since we want to bring this in, we have to also say that this inherits from iCategory repository. All right. Now I'm looking in here. It's telling me it probably I missed because I missed the semicolon there. All right. So we have now gone in, and in our data access layer, we have created a ball repository, well, an eyeball repository for our interface and a ball repository, an iCategory repository for the interface and a category repository, and our BallStore context. All right. So we've got basically, like I said, we've got all of that stuff. All right. All of that stuff has been put in here. Good. Because that's, for lack of better words, that's what we wanted. All right. All right. Now I'm taking a look over here and let's see. I'm going to go back. In fact, I'm going to go to our book here. I'm going to go to our book and I'm going to try something and we'll see if we can make it work. All right. Why is it fair that I ask you to do something if I can't do it myself? So let's go back here. Let's go in and let's bring up the book. It's been a while. Sorry, I don't remember exactly how to do this. Excuse me. So let's bring this up and we'll read now. I don't have a clue as to what chapter this was in. It was way before 17. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do a search, and I'm going to search for configuration. Like I said, I'm going to see if I can put the configuration files in here as well. Let's see, section 2. I'm going to guess that it's in here, but I don't know. Data layer configuration. Well, that looks promising. No, I don't want that. Any other configuration? Well, let's see. I don't think this is it. All right. And the configuration files, it says, yeah. So what I want to do is we've got the repositories, and I could have even made a folder for that. I didn't, but we could. This is what we want. We want to configure balls and a configure categories. All right. So let me come in and start by putting in those. Configure balls and configure categories. So in our configuration folder, that's what's here, but I didn't rename it. So, yep. So let's rename it now. Configuration. All right. And we will start with a class called configure balls.cs. And then we will also have a configure categories.cs. Okay, so now I have those two. And basically, I'm just going to be moving my data into these, or at least attempting to do so. All right, as soon as I remember how to do it. So let's see. We'll find it. Now you'll notice some of the stuff that's in here, the query options, the work, etc. I'm not putting that in. Will I need to? I don't think so. All right, this is a fairly simplistic example that we're working on here. You may agree with that. You may not agree with that. All right. Grid. I said I'm looking for this configure thing, the configuration stuff. This is all the cart stuff that we'll be working on later. And like I said, I'm looking for that configuration stuff, which has got to be in here. Oh, maybe not in this chapter then. All right, so it is the next, it is section 3 here, as you need them. Let's look in here. Dependency injection. Don't see anything in there. Partial view stuff, we'll look at that later. Authentication, not good gravy. All right, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to Google it, and I'm going to search for ASP.NET configuration. Let's see. How about just configuration files? And like I said, I should remember this. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm sick of saying I'm sorry too. So let's see. Well, we did this before, so let's see if I can find that. Let's see. Of course it wouldn't be there. And it's not there. Well, let's look here. All right, we're just at an hour, so probably go for a while yet, then we'll stop. I'm going to do this over multiple videos. Let's see if I go. I don't want to do that. Like I said, boy, for the life of me, I should remember this, but I just don't. Let's look at, I don't know, in here. Nope. I think they're right here. They're still, no, they're throwing the data in there as well. Well, good gravy. Somewhere in here, there's got to be an example that's got configuration, I would think. There we go. It's not what I want. This is setting up relationships. Well, let's do this, because I don't want to waste your time. All right? So I'm going to go on, and what I am going to do next is I've got a couple view models that I want to put in here. All right? Try to get my act together a little bit better tomorrow morning. All right, so I'm going to leave the configure categories and the configure balls. I'm going to leave those until tomorrow. But I'm going to come in here into my view models, and I'm going to, in fact, let's go in here, File, Save All, and I'm going to leave that open and leave that open, close this, and this, and this, and a lot of stuff here. I'm going to leave those two configure files open, so hopefully I can start with those tomorrow. All right, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to add a new class. All right, and that new class will be called Home View Model. .cs. It's going to be pretty simple. All right, I'm going to have in here public IEnumerable of type ball, and this will be my balls on sale with a get set. That's everything. Now again, you see it can be, they're saying potential fixes, declare as nullable, so I put the question mark there. Okay, I think I can come in here and say equal null here as well. Now I can, because this is a class, it's not a interface as we saw before. So file, save all on that, and let's close that one. And then let's make a ball list view model, which again will be pretty simplistic. So in our view models, we'll make a second one here. So add a class, and this will be ball list view model .cs. Again, it's pretty simple. All right, we will have a public IEnumerable, a ball, which we'll call, whoops, we'll get an error here, we'll fix that in a minute. It'll be balls with a get set. We need a using, there it is. Let's put a question mark in here, and again, let's make that equal to null. And we'll have a public string, current category, which again will have a get set. Again, we'll set that equal to string.empty, and we'll put a question mark in here. All right, so those are our view models right now. All right, so right now, with what we've got in here, all right, I mean, I've got those configuration files that I have not done yet, but that's going to just basically involve me moving over the data from our actual models themselves where they currently are, and then taking and moving those over and moving them into the configuration files. So we will do that. I'm just not going to do it right now. All right, so we will do it hopefully tomorrow. All right. Now, just because I don't want to exactly end right here, all right, I think what we'll do next is we'll make a couple of controllers. All right, we'll make two controllers right now. We'll have our home controller and our ball controller. All right, and I'm going to make those right now. All right, so let's, in our controllers, we've already got a home controller. All right, and I'm going to, as always, just clean them up. So I don't need this diagnostics. I don't need this logger. So all that logger stuff can be removed. I'll keep the index in there. And all the privacy stuff that's in here can be removed as well. All right. That also means that in our views home, we don't need a privacy.cs HTML anymore. So I'm just going to delete that right away. Okay. All right. So this is our home controller. All right. And what I want to put in here is public read-only eyeball repository. And we will call this underscore ball repository. All right. Whoops, try that again. All right, and again, notice I'm getting this. Probably I can put a question mark there. There we go. All right. Let's put in our constructor. Okay. Now the system added that question mark in there probably because I had the one up here. All right. And then we'll put in our index. Okay. So in our index, we're going to create a home view model. And that'll be a new home view model. All right. And that will hold our balls on sale. Get balls on sale. All right. And we're not returning just a view, but it's a view. It's going to be a home view model. All right. So there's a few things it doesn't like here, such as, well, we don't need a semicolon there. So that's the first thing. This says it may be null. So I think we can put a question mark there. And that fixed that. And here I spelled it wrong. All right. So that's everything. So that is our home controller. All right. So the other controller that we'll need in here, of course, will be our ball controller. All right. So far we have come in here and we worked with our home controller, but now we have to work with our ball controller. All right. And I'm just going to leave it at that today, even if this is only about an hour and a half long, then it is. And I'll pick it up here tomorrow. Okay. All right. So under controllers, let me go in and add a new class. In fact, I don't want to add a new class. Controller, add controller, and it'll be an MVC controller empty. All right, and this will be ball controller .cs. There that is. All right. Not a real long thing, so maybe you have 20 or 30 lines to key in here. Just like before, we'll have a private read-only, and it'll be an eyeball repository. And again, we'll call it _ ball repository. All right, and kind of like we did before, if we put a question mark here, okay, we don't have the error now. All right, and all right, let's do another private read-only, and this will be an iCategory repository. And again, we'll put a question mark there, and we'll call it category repository. All right, next, let's put in our constructor. Now, this is kind of long, so I'm going to split it over 2 lines. We've got our eyeball repository, ball repository, and our iCategory repository, category repository. All right. Now, what do we want to put in here? Well, think about what we want in here, okay? Now, we want to be able to list, all right? And when we list, we want to basically be able to show every single ball that we have, and then we want details where we're only going to be showing an individual ball. So those are the 2 things that we have to put in here. We actually don't need this. So I'm going to say public view result list and again, don't worry that we're getting that error. All right, not all paths return a value. They will. All right, so an come on. An IEnumerable balls, we're getting that error. So let's go in here and bring in our using. Let's put in a question mark right there. All right. Remove unused variables. Well, we are going to use it. So, and string current category. All right. So if we haven't chosen a category, all right, then we want to get everything. So balls equal _ ball repository dot get all balls dot order by, and we'll order it by ID. And again, we can pretty this up a bit. All right, we're getting this. In fact, we could come in here and make that equal to the empty string. All right, now what doesn't it like here? Well, we're not using it yet, so we could put a question mark here. All right, that remove that. And again, we can, like I said, pretty this up a little bit and move this order by down so it's right there. Okay, so if we have not chosen a category, we want to show everything. So the current category will be equal to all balls, because that's everything. All right. Now what doesn't it like? It says it's assigned, but its value is never used. Oh, don't worry about it. It will be. Okay. So that's that if. Let's put an else on there, which means that in that case, we have chosen a category. But in here, we're going to put a, no, I don't want that, a dot where I'm looking here. There's another empty. Balls. Did an order by. Here we're doing aware. All right, doesn't like something here, but we're going to figure it out right now. Again, I can probably put a question mark here to get rid of that. Okay, so C, that should be C dot category, I believe. All right, probably another question mark there. Here we go. All right, and we have to set the current category. I'm actually going to move this over, otherwise it's going to run off the page here. That looks a little ugly, but that's okay. All right, first or default, get rid of this. Question mark. Question mark. Category. All right. So what this is saying is, in this case here, we have not specified a category. So the category will be all balls. It should show everything. In here, we have requested a category. All right. So why am I getting the error here? Well, let's see. Current category equals category repository dot get all categories dot first or default. Actually, that looks correct. So let's see if we can figure out what the heck the problem is with this, okay? All right, give me a second here and I can take a look at what I've got. Again, we are in our controllers and we are in our ball controller. All right. Order by ball ID, that looks good. Otherwise, get all balls where this current category equal category repository dot get all categories. Just get categories. We didn't have a get all categories. There we go. And I think, again, if we put a question mark there, that'll go away. All right, so this will show us all balls. This will show us just the balls from that category. Okay? All right, and what we want to return then is multiple things. So we're going to return here a view, and it's going to be a new ball list view. We did that before in our view models. All right, let me move this over. All right, and what we're going to be returning here is why are you doing that? Actually, that should be going here. There we go. All right, balls equal balls, and current category equals current category. And I think it doesn't matter if we put a comma there or not, but we do need a semicolon there. All right, now what don't you like? That's ball list view model. All right, so looks like we're missing a using statement. We just brought it in. All right, so balls equal balls, and this is current category, capital C, equals current category. So we're returning everything, including the category. All right. All right, so far, so good. All right, now we need our details. So this is going to be for our individual ball that we want to return. And again, we're getting that because we're not returning anything yet. So we don't want to get all balls. We want to get ball by ID using the ID that we passed in there. If ball equal null, that means we're asking for something that doesn't exist. So we're going to return something that's built into the language that's called not found. All right. But if we get down to here, we're going to return view ball. So we're going to return the ball we were looking for. All right. So what I've done so far today in this hour and a half or so is I came back and we now have broken our models into a data access layer, which will hold our configuration files, which I have to create first thing tomorrow, our repositories, and our context file. We also have our domain models, which currently exist and hold the ball in the category, and our view models. So I am starting to break this up. In addition, I went in here and grabbed the controllers. Now it looks like there's an error right there, so let's see if we can figure out what that is. Okay, I think that was it. So that was what we were just working on here. Yeah, category name. Okay, so again, if I monkeyed with this enough, I could probably put enough question marks in there to get rid of that because it's a nullable error. All right, so file, save all. Now what I'm going to do, tomorrow I'm going to end up redoing this tomorrow, but even though we are going to have our configuration files, I want to see if this will build. So file, in fact, let's go to a file, save all. All right, and then let's do a build solution and see if we have any errors in here. This is with what we've done so far. All right, we'll bring our package manager back up in just a minute. It says one succeeded, so it should be okay. So I am going to bring up the package manager and our package manager console, and I'm going to say here, add migration, initial, we'll call it initial migration. See if that works. Unable to create BallStore context. All right, for the different bands. And I'll tell you why that is. It's because we did not come in here into our program.cs file and make the change that we need to make. In other words, we didn't add that in here. Let's do that right now. And I think that, I don't remember where that goes. So let's see. That's going to go right after our build controllers with views. So right here. So I'm going to put in builder.services.addDB context, and this is BallStore context, not the BallStore. This is BallStore context. Don't worry, we'll try to fix that in just a minute. Options. Options dot use SQL server builder dot configuration dot get connection string, and that is our BallStore context. Let's move this over. Don't know what happened there, but context. Semicolon at the end. This, I think, needs a using. It does. So let's do a file, save all. Now let's go back to here and see if we can now build this. So let me set here build succeeded. So I may have a migration in here. I don't know. I don't see one though. So I don't think so. So let's clear and let's try this again. Okay, clear, and let's do an update database. There's bringing in my data. All right, let's go over to here, and we will refresh, then come back to here and see if I've got a BallStore DB. I do. My tables, I've got balls table that's got, I look at the data, there is the data, and under categories, if I look at the data in there, there should be 7, and they're all there. All right, that's what I wanted to get through for right now. I'm going to start it tomorrow with going over, try moving these things over, and then we'll look at the view files. All right. Sorry, I was hoping this would be a little longer, but it's an hour and a half. Okay, talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.